Imtiaz received a dreadful call on the morning of July 20th, 2012. The voice behind the line announced that his brother had just suffered a heart attack. Imtiaz rushed over. When he arrived, it was already too late. His precious sibling had just died due to natural causes. Imtiaz couldn't accept it. He shouted, "This wasn't a heart attack. This was murder." His basis, the deceased, Uruj Khan, had just won $1 million in the Illinois lottery. Greed, after all, has historically been a motivation for foul play. Businessman Uruj Khan, who was living in Chicago, was only 46 years old when he suddenly died. Uruj, who moved to the US from India in 1989, ran a dry cleaning business in the Illinois city. He won $1 million on a scratch-off ticket that he had bought from a 7-Eleven convenience store in June 2012. Uruj opted to receive his prize as a $600,000 lump sum and took home a whopping $424,000 after taxes. He said he jumped 2 feet in the air when he learned he had come up trumps. But the businessman died just a day after the check was issued. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions. His widow Shabana Ansari told NBC News that Uruj became ill at around 3 a.m., about 6 hours after eating dinner. Uruj woke up in agony and collapsed in the middle of the night, per ABC News. So, what exactly happened that night? Authorities initially proclaimed that Uruj died due to natural causes. As part of standard procedure, the forensic pathologist on duty took a blood sample for basic toxicological testing. They ran tests for opiates, alcohol, and carbon monoxide poisoning. All of these turned out negative, so the official forensic report declared that his arteries hardening caused Khan's death. Imtiaz Khan disagreed with their findings. He wanted to find true justice for his brother, who was now 6 feet under. After numerous calls, authorities finally gave in to Imtiaz's request. They ran the victim's blood sample through a more comprehensive test to look for possible toxins and surprisingly found evidence indicating foul play. Uruj Khan had a lethal amount of cyanide in his blood. What a tangled web of mystery we have here. It seemed like the untimely demise of Uruj had left everyone in a state of utter disbelief. Melissa, a sleuthing detective from the Chicago Police Department, had announced that the authorities were treating the case as a murder investigation. Things were about to get even more intriguing. Stephen Sina, a seasoned medical examiner in Cook County, has revealed that the autopsy results were nothing short of explosive. He exclaimed, "The levels of cyanide in Uruj's blood were definitely in the lethal range. Now, that's what we call a compelling case, if we do say so ourselves." But here's the twist. Uruj's wife, Shabana, was left shattered by his untimely passing. She could not fathom a life without her beloved husband and had described him as a great person who had no enemies. After weeks of investigating, the Cook County State's Attorney Office filed a petition to the court to exhume Khan's body so that experts may perform further tests. The courts approved this request on January 11, 2013, and a week after, Khan's body was exhumed. The initial theory was that Uruj Khan was poisoned through him ingesting cyanide. To determine this, they needed to see if there were traces of poison in his stomach. The night before his death, Uruj had a traditional lamb curry dish prepared by his wife, Shabana Ansari. To remove any suspicion, Khan's widow Ansari cooperated fully with law enforcement. She stated that the curry could not have poisoned her husband because she and her father partook the same meal that evening. He had gone to bed before waking up screaming as his body was suffocated cell by cell, as explained by the Cook County medical examiner, who considers this case one of the most shocking of his career. Chicago Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy told reporters that he had never seen anything like Mr. Khan's case in his 32 years of policing in New York, New Jersey, and now Chicago. Authorities also conducted searches in the Khan household, but officers found no evidence of cyanide. Stephen Sina, the medical examiner handling Khan's case, found himself in a rather perplexing situation when it came to determining how the poison entered the victim's body. Unfortunately, due to the body being buried for several months, It had undergone significant decomposition, rendering an accurate examination nearly impossible. One could say that Khan's body had taken the phrase "rest in peace" a bit too literally. To make matters worse, Khan's body had not been embalmed, as per Muslim tradition. While this was a respectful adherence to religious customs, it inadvertently hastened the decomposition process. It seems that even in death, cultural practices can have unintended consequences. However, despite these challenges, a second round of examination managed to shed some light on the case. It was revealed that Khan's arteries were 75% blocked. This fact became a focal point for Ansari's defense lawyer during the investigations, as it provided support for the theory of natural death. Uruj Khan did not leave a will, and thus, his family members fought tooth and nail for a piece of the prize. In this fierce battle for inheritance, Uruj's brother, Imtiaz Khan, had come forward with some explosive allegations against Shabana Ansari, who attempted to swoop in and claim the windfall shortly after Uruj's passing. However, it seemed that Lady Luck was not on her side, as she was unable to secure the prize. Imtiaz Khan had taken it upon himself to expose the truth behind Uruj and Shabana's relationship. According to him, their bond did not reach the sacred realm of matrimony. This revelation could have potentially cost Shabana dearly, as she might have missed out on her rightful share of the lottery jackpot. Half of the winnings could slip through her fingers like sand in an hourglass. The absence of a will has turned this situation into a veritable circus, with each member jostling for their moment in the spotlight. Uruj's sister, Miraj Khan, had embarked on a legal journey to claim guardianship of his daughter, Jasmine, from his previous wife. This battle had taken an interesting turn, as Miraj Khan sought guardianship of the 17-year-old. Even though Jasmine had primarily resided with her stepmother, Shabana, in their home, it seemed that Miraj was determined to challenge the status quo. Miss Ansari's lawyer, in an effort to defend her client's position, confidently informed Mail Online that she had undergone a rigorous 4-hour interrogation by the police and had nothing to hide. This statement implies that Miss Ansari is fully prepared to face any scrutiny that may come her way. It appears that she is willing to go to great lengths to ensure her intentions are transparent and above reproach. On the other hand, Mr. Khan's brother, Imtiaz, expresses concern that Jasmine, his niece from a previous relationship, may be deprived of what he believes is rightfully hers, her fair share. Imtiaz's apprehension suggests that he suspects foul play or an unfair advantage being taken against Jasmine. He fears that she may not receive the treatment or consideration she deserves in this custody battle. Detectives even went so far as to search the family's 2-story home in the West Rogers Park neighborhood on Chicago's North Side. These actions indicated that there may be more at stake than initially meets the eye. In this legal drama, attorney Stephen Kozicki stepped up to defend his client, Ansari, proclaiming her innocence with conviction. He firmly asserted that she is not guilty of any wrongdoing in connection with her husband's untimely demise. With a touch of suspense, Kozicki revealed that there is no indication whatsoever that detectives were eyeing Ansari as a potential suspect in this mysterious case. Now, in addition to grieving her husband, she's struggling to run the business that he essentially ran while he was alive, Mr. Kozicki told the Tribune. Once people analyze it, they would realize she's in a much worse financial position after his death than she was before. Ms. Ansari wouldn't talk about the mysterious circumstances of her husband's death, saying it was too painful. But she said she hoped the truth would come out in the homicide investigation. Meanwhile, in another corner of the courtroom, we had attorney Al-Harun Hussein playing his part in the probate case involving the division of lottery winnings. As the tension rose, Hussein disclosed to the Chicago Tribune that the funds were currently being divided fairly among Mr. Khan's family members. According to Illinois law, which acts as the guiding light in this legal maze, the money must be split evenly between the teenage daughter and Ms. Ansari. The courts favored Khan's immediate family. His daughter received 1/3 of his winnings and a few condominiums, while Ansari received 2/3 of it and the entirety of their dry cleaning business. police have not spoken publicly of any suspects or put forward a possible motive for what they now believe was an intentional poisoning. So, how did the poison get into Uruj's body? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The authorities are still scratching their heads, trying to figure out who could have had a motive to do such a dastardly deed. They still have no evidence that points to anybody as suspect, so the theory of a natural death remains the most likely cause. For Imtiaz Khan, this couldn't be further from the truth. The cyanide in his blood must have proved something, right? To this day, Imtiaz still calls the police, asking the same question.